I want to just talk about reading the voice in a vocal Tai Chi session with your one-to-one client practice. And I want to draw your attention to this little section here, which is on the front page of the vocaltaichi.com. There's a way of listening to the sound of a voice that can be read freshly, rather like a subtle poem, can be slowly understood. There is so much nuance and information in the timbres, range and agility of the voice through the wordless improvisations and soundings. And this can be interpreted rather like revealing the underlying meanings in a piece of poetry. Not necessarily, this equals this, but kind of collating a picture. But how to recognize and dialogue with these subtle qualities of tone is perhaps at the heart of the vocal Tai Chi practice. How to interface with what is really being heard, and those particular grains of sand in the voice, those particular shining spots that are brightly popping out, and the relationship between the sand and the brightly popping things. And I'm just talking poetically, but it's that level of intimate listening. And let's read a little bit more. There are many, many voices within all of us. Infinity is not too small a number. And in vocal Tai Chi, this infinity of voices is invited to sing, to sound, to improvise music that is who you are now. It is not likely to be a virtuosic solo cadenza or a whippersnapper scat around the keys. In other words, sort of acquired skills and technique, though it may involve some of that, but is more likely to be something that is not predetermined, not formed by convention, but arising out of inner listening, inner inquiry, intention, and impulse. Feeding your energy and imagination, vocal Tai Chi can help you with your own instrumental playing, performance nerves, expressive authenticity, and creative aliveness, as well as more generally with your health and well-being. So I just wanted to focus in on that little small passage about how do we read the voice. And I think in that little passage you get a sense that there's this sort of microscopic listening that, it cannot really be methodolized, made into a method, because it is so alive in the moment, and there's an infinity of nuances there. So it's a question of how to listen, how to receive, how to read, interpret, and to reflect back, often using an image as a metaphor, or some kind of poetic language that you create together in the moment with the person that you're working with. So drawing out from the person that you're working with their own, and I will use mythology now, their own mythology of thinking, and then kind of plugging that into a way of talking to them in a language that makes sense to them, and stapling together. That's probably not quite the right way. That sounds a bit DIY, but it's a little bit of a kind of a symbiotic connection that goes on. So you meet their world in their way that they talk about themselves, and you add that into your understanding of what you're hearing, and you use language that makes sense to them, in referring to vocal vocal qualities that you're picking up. And of course, it's not just in that kind of oral space of voice, it's also in the field around the body, it's in the body language, it's in the facial expressions, it's in the way they phrase their improvisations, how they finish, how they start. Each moment is a revelation potentially of where that person's at, what they're, everything is a clue, everything is a information and data. And that's kind of like the heart of what I want to try and transmit in the teaching, is using these very simple tools like the backing tracks and the 4 floors of the vocal house, and you know, the props associated with vocal Tai Chi, like the mic and the amp, and yeah, those things are the externals. And then you kind of have your skeleton, and then you go in and you sort of see what's the beating heart of this particular person. And that's the work that I'm keen to try to apprentice with people, if you see what I mean, and pass that set of skills on. It's very hard to write about it and talk about it, but I hope that's given an impression. I'm coming out of this now, so yeah, I really just wanted to get that off my chest, because I think it's an important thing. How do we read the voice in vocal Tai Chi, and how do we talk to each other and our clients, and make sense of this subtle secret world that is just under the surface.